And now we welcome in our analyst, Robert Rosenthal from IlliniBoard.com. Robert, as always, a pleasure.
Good to be here.
So a lot to unpack from Friday's game. I guess we'll start with what was the biggest red flag that you saw?
I mean, it has to be the offense. You know, there were questions of the defense going into the game, mostly because the lost starters and, you know, Dele Harding was a first-team All-Big Ten linebacker. How are they going to replace him? Stanley Green's gone. 4 new defensive linemen. A lot of questions on the defense. The defense was probably what people expected. I don't think people expected the offense to hold the ball for 14 minutes and punt it away and make the defense do everything and give the game no chance. So it has to be the offense is the biggest question mark. You return 9 starters and that's what's seen. So it's a big concern going forward.
Were you surprised that Brandon Peters didn't really use all of the weapons that he had available?
Yeah, that's the thing is that, you know, the talk was at the end of last season they were down to 3 receivers and Daniel Barker was having to play some wide receiver just because they didn't have enough and all this stuff. Well, now you have all these receivers. You brought in transfers. Luke Ford's eligible. People are expecting the ball to go around, and it was 10 targets to Josh Imatorbhebhe. So, yeah, it's you know, it's one of those throw it out and start over kind of things. But, you know, it's an 8-game season. This is not the kind of thing you can get behind. It's going to be, you know, start to fall downhill quickly.
Yeah, I think it was just 1 target to Luke Ford.
Yes.
Also, which was
yes.
surprised me a lot. But
Yes.
even Brandon Peters said that he was surprised to see Isaiah Williams take as many snaps as he did. Did that surprise you as well?
It did. It did. You know, sometimes in a first game you would see that. You know, say they did have the season and say they were playing Illinois State as a non-conference game, you would see that kind of thing. You don't expect that kind of thing when you're at Wisconsin in a game where it's the first league game and everything else. So, yeah, it felt kind of like a non-conference starter game and, hey, let's try this and let's see if this works. But it's really difficult to do that when you're at Wisconsin.
Yeah, you're playing Wisconsin, no doubt.
Right.
If you're Brandon Peters right now, are you worried about your starting job?
I don't think you're worried, but you're probably thinking if you're in 3rd and short, oh, are they going to go with the running quarterback, the high school superstar who was, you know, ran that running offense? Are they going to pull me? You know, when you're not really worried that you're not going to be the starter the next week, but you probably are worried every play of like, oh, we're in the red zone. Is he going to get a series now? You know, it has to be in his head.
Yeah, what do you think Rod Smith is thinking right now? What does he need to do to get this offense going?
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a plan. That was the biggest surprise to me in that game Friday night is that they just didn't, besides target Imatorbhebhe, it just didn't seem to have a cohesion of, well, here's what they're trying to do. Oh, they have new running backs. Here's the rotation. You know, it was just so scattered that you just couldn't tell what was, you know, what was the intention, what was the game plan going into the game. So that's the thing is you have to say there's 7 games left now, you know, plus the bonus game. So 7 games, who are we? What do we do on offense? We have to figure it out quick with Purdue coming to town.
Right. And there were big expectations for the offensive line heading into this game. Did they meet those expectations?
Yeah, I don't think so. When you have 125 starts returning, you have 3 guys who have started for 3 seasons. Now, Wisconsin's defensive line is the best D-line they'll probably face. Wisconsin's D-line is probably even better than what Ohio State will bring. But still, the number of yards, the difficulties rushing, the only open things in the rush game were when Peters would pull the ball and go. Yeah, it's all a big concern. It has to be brand new next week.
Right, and there were a lot of question marks for this defensive line as well, them being a new group. I mean, did they perform to what you thought they were going to do?
Yeah, I think Roderick Perry was kind of a revelation. It's a little concerning when maybe your best player on defense is the new transfer you just got. You know that you want to be developing those kind of players, but you know, like I said earlier, like the defense was perhaps almost on target of what I expected, at least. You know, Wisconsin, you didn't expect them to have a freshman quarterback complete 90+% of his passes, but, you know, the defense got some tackles for loss and forced a fumble and scored and everything else. So there was at least some semblance of, okay, that's what this defense can be. On the offensive side, you just didn't know what it was.
Were you impressed with Tariq Barnes?
Yes, yes. It's always great when a kid gets his first shot. You know, he's standing on the sideline. He sees the starter go out. Hey, you know, just grab your helmet and go. You know, it was interesting. He was one of the 4 players last season who did not redshirt. They said he can help us on special teams, and you know, some of the stars of the recruiting class ended up redshirting while he played in every game. So he was ready, and he made the most of it.
So Purdue up next. Do you think expectations change after what we saw on Friday against Wisconsin?
I mean, I think it's the biggest game of the Lovie-Smith era at this point. It has to be that you're in year 5. Okay, maybe you can just throw this one away and say it was Wisconsin. Maybe they end up a top 5 team at the end of the year, and you realize you just weren't ready to go on the road and play them. But you have a Purdue team that went 4-8 last year. You have an Illinois team that was 6-6 last year. Illinois is in its 5th year of a rebuild. Purdue in its 4th. You stand toe to toe with someone else trying to build their program and say, where are you at? So it's a game like that where you're gonna see what you have.
So Robert, you are with IlliniBoard.com. I know you're taking it to a new level this year. Can you tell us a little bit about what you kind of got going on?
Well, it was a much shorter drive here this time, about 5 minutes instead of the 3 hours from the St. Louis area. But yes, my wife and I moved to Champaign. I've launched the site under a new subscription structure, and this is my job now. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to being in the press box on Saturday and seeing seeing if there's some life in this program that has fans really kind of struggling right now.
All right. Well, Robert, thank you so much, as always, for joining us. Again, you can find him
Appreciate it.
on IlliniBoard.com, and we'll see you here next week.